In this video, I'm working through the Chapter 2 exercise. Exercise 2.1 is with brackets. So the first thing to do is open brackets. So I have brackets saved on my desktop, or a link to it saved on my desktop. And then if I go to File, Open Folder, then I can open the folder of those that I saved before. So these text downloads, I'm going to use these working files and select the book apps, select that folder, and bring in all of the folder for the book apps. And now that will have for each chapter all of the files that go along with it, and then continue to do the same thing for exercises and book examples. So let's get back to there, exercises. And those are all of the exercises that we'll be using this semester. And from the textbook anyway, and the book examples. And now you'll have everything that you need. And if I come here to click on the book examples at the top, then I can go to any of those. Now I've done more than you guys have. There's still some stuff left over from last semester. But here you should be able to see those three options, the exercises, the book apps, and the book examples available for you to choose. And then you can go through those. Now I want to make sure that I'm working in my spring 2019 option. So I can see the file path here. Where it's coming from. So I want to make sure that I'm choosing the right one. You don't have as many, but I want to be able to see that. And now all of the files are there, and I think that's it. So that's 1 through 4. In number 5, I'm going to edit the code and use live preview. So one of the nice things about brackets is that it has this live preview. But I'm going to follow the steps in the instructions. So number 5, I'm on page 82, by the way. Number 5, in the file tree, click on the symbol before. Okay. I think this is in the book apps. Yeah, chapter 2, when I clicked on that little arrow, it opened up my files. And display the files. Double click on the file named JavaScript jQuery HTML, and that should open up this file over here on the right. I can see up the top that I'm in chapter 2, JavaScript jQuery HTML book apps, and this is all there is of this file. And now it's listed up the top under working files. So the ones that I actually have open that I'm using should be listed as working files. And in number 6, it says to start a new H1 element right after the H1 element, and note how what happens with brackets. So the H1 element is already there. So remember what an HTML file looks like. It has a little bit at the top, the doc type HTML, telling it that it's HTML5. It has this HTML that surrounds both a head and a body. The head has some kind of behind the scenes work, and the body, inside the body, is everything that the user will be able to see. And inside that, it holds an H1, which is just a heading 1, an image, IMG is an image, a P, which is a paragraph, and another P, which is a paragraph. The A, then down at the bottom, that is nested inside that paragraph, is an anchor or a link. It doesn't link to anywhere, but it is a link and will show up as a link. So those are the elements that we have in there so far. Notice that an opening tag opens with the angle brackets around it, or less than and greater than around it. And the closing tag has the same thing, but it has a slash in front of the element's name. And if I decided I wanted an H1, like it tells me in line 6, all I have to do, I'm sorry, instruction 6, all I have to do is go to the place where I want to add it. I just hit enter and start typing. And I start typing, putting the angle bracket there, and it will give me a list of choices that I might want. So let's see H. And instead of an H1, I decide that I want an H2. Select H2 from the hints. So I'm going to select H2 from the hints. I use my mouse. You can use your arrow keys. Then type the closing bracket, and it will automatically give me the end tag. Yeah, so I don't, I would go ahead and type here. So this is my second heading or my subheading. That's all there is to that. But I don't actually need that in there, so I'm going to get rid of it. So that was what you were supposed to do and it's that easy to delete it, by the way. Just select it and hit delete. That was instruction number 6. And that's just showing you a little bit about what brackets will do. And then online or instruction 7, click on the live preview icon. That's this little lightning bolt up here, the live preview icon, which will open up a Chrome window that contains the site for what you're working on, the HTML that you're currently working on. Okay, and then if in number 8 I want to move to a different file, so I want to look at this book.css instead of this HTML out. So I click on book.css, double click on it, and it opens up my CSS. Notice that my CSS has the element, or it's called the selector, the element and or element type, and some rules, and this whole thing is called a rule set. This body, or what is before the rules, is called a selector, and each of these inside is a rule that contains a property and its value. A property and its value, and then each line ends in a semicolon. The property and the value are separated by a colon, and then a semicolon ends each line. You'll see that some of them have multiple values and some only have one value, but we'll talk about those as we go along. We have plenty of opportunities to talk about the details of this. But each rule set has a selector that's the element or the part of the HTML which all these rules will be applied to, and then the curly braces surrounding the rules. Okay, if I do what's on number 8, change the color property for the H1 element to red, the color property for the H1 element to red, notice that in my live preview, the H1, that's the heading, turns red. So that's all that would happen there. I think it's time that I stop sharing and save this video and start a new video.